Lying is what just happened. It's an advanced technique I learned a long time ago when a friend of mine promised that despite his Steam achievements, he did not know how to make a hacking machine, and so I left the base to search for the meaning of life. Upon realizing that I forgot my DIY shotgun on the charging station, I went back to get it, and that's when I caught him wearing an entire armor set made of steel, holding a freshly made factory setting tier 3 iPhone. In all honesty, I wasn't mad about the phone. It was only a matter of time before he made one anyway. My problem is him swapping out the armored underwear. You see, we had an agreement between homies that from the start of the game we were to always be wearing the same underwear. No homo, all rights reserved. Upon seeing this betrayal, I had the immediate urge to remind him of our health and safety community guidelines. It's pretty obvious at this point, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We're not reviewing Minecraft today because you already know what it is. Don't lie to me. There's a sentiment well known in the world of video games that we all play Minecraft at some point. We just don't get to know it. Besides, if I talk about vanilla Minecraft, people might mistake me for a Minecraft YouTuber, and that's as bad as being called the hard R. So instead of a review of vanilla Minecraft Java Edition, trademark, copyrighted, all rights reserved, I'm gonna tell you about some of the lesser known things in this game. But first, let's start with the basics. Minecraft is a sandbox. Usually, when people say sandbox, they're either referring to an abusive relationship or a game with nothing to do. Not this time. This time, only the people that made the game don't know what to do with it. Mostly because a Swedish man 1 quadrillion years ago had the bright idea of making the game without multi-core support. I present to you now the very first publication of a recording of Notch, the creator of Minecraft, making the game.
Oh, I'm not gonna add multi-core support to my Swedish cube game. This will surely not backfire 12 years from now.
12 years later.
Hey everyone, welcome to my modded Minecraft playthrough. Today, we're gonna be... Oh, looks like somebody just joined the server. The server's...
I can't help but ask, why did you click on this video? It's not like you don't know what Minecraft is. Minecraft is, of course, a game about enjoying a world, about letting your creativity run free, about mining, about exploring, about building buildings. It's a game about automation, about managing your resources, about economy. It's about It's a game about making friends and then manipulating said friends into playing a resource pack you made just to catch one of them wearing a piece of armor with a penis on the back and then proceed to make fun of them for it 2 years after it happened. You know, I still remember that time of you having a penis on your back. That was really funny. Hey, do you remember the time where you had a penis on your back? You little Huh? Like any good Kotaku game review, we're gonna start this review with something completely relevant. My uncle's homosexual tendencies is something that can be experienced should the game be modded heavily enough. Typically, a single mod can add anywhere between a new dimension and several new dimensions. Each one is unique, of course. Or at least tries to be. A mod pack, as the name suggests, is a pack of mods. To say that they typically overhaul the game is an understatement. Each one is unique, of course, but not really. Due to the high amount of variety in the modding scene, regardless of what I do, I won't be able to fully describe it. So instead, I'm gonna teach you some of the common terminology, recommended mod packs to play, and present you with the International Suicide Prevention Hotline. More or less, every mod pack can be distinguished into one of 4 kinds: PvE, tech and or magic, kitchen sinks, and the entire autism spectrum. PvE mod packs, sometimes referred to as RPG mod packs, are generally focused around exploration and combat. It's like Skyrim if Todd Howard fellatiated himself every time he worked on the game. I can't believe they did that to James the Tank Engine. He was my hero, you know. Me and him used to go way back. What the fuck? Okay, that's enough. Oh my god, it's Percy! Holy shit! Tech and or magic generally focused around automation and operating weird-ass machinery that either makes sense or doesn't make sense. It's practically Factorio before Factorio existed. Kitchen sink mod packs, also known as an aneurysm, have no real proper terminology for them. In general, it means that the mod pack has a lot of mixed mods, be it more dungeons, biomes, machinery, or magic, without focusing on any one aspect. While there are some differences between kitchen sink mod packs, the gameplay is gonna be very similar. You get some wood, mine some ore, set up a quarry, make perfect armor, and then kill everything. Alternatively, get some wood, mine some ore, rob 15 suburban homes, 12 corporate towers, and an unnecessary amount of boats that contain little to no loot. Most people's experiences end here, because the fourth and final type of mod pack, well, it's a bit of a niche. You may have heard of it, commonly referred to as an expert mod pack, but that's not what they really are. I know what they really are. I spent a lot of time in this category. I know what they did. We all like to look at Minecraft like it's some funny little Swedish cube game, but answer me this. What's the difference between GregTech and Archotechnic Engineering? What's the difference between Botania and phytogenetic botanism? There's a sentiment in the modded Minecraft community that we all play modded Minecraft at some point. You just don't get to know it. They always start out as someone trying to have fun and end up with a degree in industrial engineering. I knew I was too far in when I asked what a good early game food source is, and someone replied to me with the molecular formula of bread. I laughed at his reply, brushing it off as a funny joke. He then asked if I wanted to see something cool, and then proceeded to send a picture of me taken through the window. To say that the modding scene is passionate is an understatement. What an expert mod pack is will depend on who you ask. Most people believe it means that the standard crafting recipes have been redone to make them significantly more difficult by adding more steps, different resources, or outright more of them. But some people will tell you that it's not a game, but an education on engineering, manufacturing, programming, and even certain forms of the arcane. It's usually expected for you to have experience with a bunch of mods. Usually there's a quest book to help guide you through the mod pack. And now I present to you a bunch of mod packs that I've played just a little bit, but not a lot, so I'm gonna recommend them. Look man, reviewing mod packs, this shit sucks, okay? Prominence 2 is a PvE and exploration focused mod pack. While it has some tech and magic, it's largely PvE focused. It's got a lot of beautiful scenery in it and some little known mods that change things up a bit. There's also a quest book to guide you through the mod pack. I've also been getting into BM Exosphere recently. The world of the mod pack is a bunch of skylands. There's a lot of ruins and dungeons to check out. You also get a grapple hook to navigate through the frequently vertical environment. As for kitchen sinks, you can't really go wrong here since a lot of them are similar. I'll name some unique ones. All the Mods 9 is a pretty crowded mod pack. One of the cooler features is that it has a built-in endgame, which is typically something that kitchen sink mod packs lack. It had a surprisingly low load time despite the high number of mods, and it seemed relatively stable. Well, as stable as a 400 mods mod pack can be.
I think I'm smelling some. Shut up!
FTB Academy focuses on tech and magic. It's meant for beginners. It contains a quest book and a school area to guide you through every step of the mod pack. It teaches you modded concepts so that you can intuitively make sense of things without having to rely on Wikipedia or the entirety of the Direwolf 20 channel. As for expert mod packs, if for whatever reason you really want to get investigated by the FBI, Enigmatica 2 Expert mode is a pretty good one to start with. I did a full playthrough. I recommend it. And then there's GregTech New Horizons. I could explain more, but I'm sick and tired of emails blackmailing me, claiming they know what's inside my porn folder, only to find out that there's no porn in the porn folder. That's right. No dick, no shaft, and no balls. I'm talking full production, automation diagrams and processes planned out right next to my legal. Self-destruction, very legal. Configurations, video pending production. Usually when they find out about this, the scam attempt very quickly turns into a self-help session, sending me articles suggesting cognitive behavioral therapy as a way to deal with the struggles of autism. If you're like this guy, first of all, thanks for trying to help, but also, fuck you! Stop sending me these emails! You can play with your friends on servers. Probably. I wouldn't know. All I do is invite them on false pretenses, grab their IP, and send them a self-help book for every time they call me gay. Though I can tell you a couple things about servers. Firstly, that you can play minigames on them. Secondly, that you can play MMOs on them. Thirdly, that all data regarding the world is stored on the RAM. And fourth, of course, is that it's extremely vulnerable. But let's slow down a bit and discuss something that's important about Minecraft servers. The RAM, also known as random access memory, is this funny little stick inside your computer. It's responsible for...
Hermos, you're talking shit again, man. Where are you going with this?
Well, if you would shut the fuck up and listen for 2 seconds, maybe we'll get to the part that actually matters! Right. Okay, look, we're gonna get a little informational here. Due to the nature of how Minecraft works, it requires RAM for every single block, particle, player, or entity, and since the game is very reliant on your RAM, it can be very taxing on it. Some mod packs might even tell you to allocate 8 gigs of RAM when they actually mean 12 gigs.
Holy shit! What the fuck?
Modded Minecraft is probably the only game currently in the market that recommends more than 16 gigs of RAM in your computer. This is of course assuming you're gonna multitask with Chrome, Discord, etc. If it's just a game, then don't worry about it. Probably. Most likely. Maybe. And as you may know, I like to do a little bit of Minecraft server hosting, a little bit of networking actually, just enough to be a problem to some certain games, video pending production. And sometimes I host Minecraft servers for my friends. And a couple days ago, a friend of mine called my mom gay. Now, I'm not a bitter person, but ever since then, I've been very curious about what happens when you take the RAM out of an already online server. And if I look to my right here, we're gonna see that very person currently fighting for his life with a lot of loot in his inventory. And if we look to the bottom, one moment, we're gonna find the product of what happens when a practicing network engineer has too much time on his hands. I'm so glad that all the data of the world is all held within these RAM sticks. Man, it sure would suck if something was to happen to the RAM right in the middle of my friend fighting for his life on the server. Oh, that's right. Excuse my dementia. I wanted to find out what happens when you remove the RAM from a currently working server. Let's go! So the footage got corrupted? Right, with that settled, I'm gonna start talking about other servers, or at least the ones that are still around. Rest in peace, Mindplex. You were a pretty good server to test the latest cheat engine updates on. Hypixel, alternatively known as Prison, is a server. What the server is about, though, depends on who you ask. For Venezuelans, it's a third of the economy. For casual players, it's a pretty good way to experience what it's like to live in London. For competitive players, it's the defining factor of their self-esteem, where victory meant ecstasy and defeat meant the world's greatest 360 double backflip right out the window. As for me, simple. It's a pretty good way to test the limits of my ADD medication. Though it's been a while since I last played on it. All I know now is to log in, have the fidelity of my parents questioned, make money, and then quit for another 3 months. I remember when I played on the server very vividly. I'd play Skywars. While I was never really good at it, I didn't play harder. I played smarter. Consistently placing top 5. My strategy? Simple. I just point and laugh. Most of the lobby just falls on their own anyway. I also played Skyblock, which is an MMO. To address the elephant in the room, reviewing MMOs typically results in the script either turning Japanese or looking like a symptom to schizophrenia. This is because the MMO experience varies greatly depending on how social you are, and my experience with MMOs typically involves an argument about whether or not someone had their socks stolen right in the middle of a boss fight, so I'm not gonna go into detail. Instead, here's a summary. Skyblock, not to be mixed up with Skyblock, has a lot of skills, and you spend a lot of time leveling them up. It has a resource management element, so you're gonna be spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to make money. Luckily, it has a pretty unstable economy, and most updates tend to release some crazy money-making methods. Unfortunately, they are yet to rework foraging. Foraging, to this day, is still the worst skill in the game, taking over 100 hours to reach level 50, and the reward for doing it is 2 strength per level. What strength does now, after the nerfs, nobody knows. People just talk about how it used to be. Back in the simpler days, when adventure was common, when life expectancy wasn't even a thing, when people who couldn't get into prison would instead play on servers that simulated prison, when the most wanted job was punching wood, getting bone fractures, and dying by the age of 23 minutes after your last death. Fortunately, this was a segue. This is a segue. This is all build up to it was a smooth segue. Adventure maps are save files that are set up to be an adventure-based experience, something for you to explore and complete. There's a lot of variety here, and in all honesty, way too much for me to cover here. So just take my word for it, 10 out of 10. All you have to do is choose the genre and sort by downloads, because usually whatever has a lot of downloads is pretty good. I recommend pretty much anything in the CTM genre. Not only is it my favorite, but I'm biased, paid, and also right. Take my word for it, man. If you like adventures, then this is the genre you want to check out. CTM stands for Complete the Monument, which is the goal for these kinds of maps. Usually it's a massive map with a monument located somewhere in there. The objects needed to fill the monument are usually colored wall blocks, but sometimes they can be other items as well. In all truth, there is no good way to describe these maps. At 4 in the morning, right after ingesting 2 grams of caffeine. So instead, I'll be retelling the story of a CTM playthrough with a good friend of mine, Derpins. who I have on several occasions threatened and gaslit. That's how you know it's a good relationship. The map in question is Untold Story 7, made by RenderXR. I recommend everything that he makes. Please don't get controversial and make me look bad. Please, man, please, I'm begging you here. I'm begging. Like any CTM map, the goal is to find the monument and complete it. This map uses music discs for the monument. Each biome and or general area contains a music disc. The twist of this map is that instead of a hunger bar, you have a mana bar. Every mob drops 1 mana when killed, and instead of eating food to heal, you drink from this stolen, copyrighted asset from Dark Souls 2, which costs mana, by the way. Also, when you die, instead of exploding like a piñata, all your loot is contained in this contraption. I'll now refer to it as a grave. However, if you were to die again, then a new grave would spawn and delete the old one, essentially becoming the equivalent of dying twice in a Dark Souls game, which turns the winning strategy of kamikaze till you get your stuff back into a dangerous game of surgery, because most of the time where you die is usually full of dangers. And if you were to fall off into a lake of lava, maybe consider learning how to tie a noose, you know what I mean? I'm also a bit of a server administrator. I have a degree. I added a couple plugins to the server that allowed us to spawn in any image we wanted. All we had to do was first download it into the server by writing a certain command and providing the server with a link of the image. My friend, upon finding out about this, immediately tried to download onto the server 12 hours worth of mukbang ASMR. I of course expected this and made sure that the server can only download PNG or JPEG images. With my friend now defeated and not wanting to shut down the server shortly after it started, we decided to cooperate. We started out by reading the rules. Rule number 1, no cheating, and rule number 2, never play on peaceful mode. Stepping through the beginning of the map, we found a strange pit with trapdoors on it. We investigated. However, I had made a critical error. The critical error in question was trusting my friend, because as I was standing on the trapdoor to get a closer look at the pit, he would trigger the trapdoor, dropping me straight into the magma below. This betrayal would not be forgotten anytime soon. Shortly after spotting a pretty long bridge, the advertisers immediately left the room. My friend, upon stepping on it for approximately 12 seconds, decided that this bridge was the greatest place to jump off. Using the vines hanging off the edge, he would shimmy his way below the bridge, where he managed to locate a secret chest with armor and supplies. He would then try to climb the vines back up again. However, this time, he was the one to make the critical error, for it was me that was standing at the top end of the bridge, biding my time for this critical opportunity. My friend, oblivious to my intent, had no idea that karma was about to be delivered with same-day shipping. As he was climbing back up to the bridge, I looked at him in the eyes and over voice chat said to him, I am a party man in a party world. Life can sometimes be rambunctious, and I'm about to become a rabid modifier. From here, the shenanigans would slow down, mostly because the challenge of the map is pretty severe, so there was no need to harass each other. The map did enough of that as it is. The area was full of all sorts of nooks and crannies to check out, but for the most part, we would stick to the most forward-looking path that we could find. The map didn't really give us much of a break. At every spot that looked like it was worth checking out, there'd be spawners hidden somewhere below ground. Whenever the challenge was known, we'd try to be strategic, building blockades and using the environment to maintain an advantage over the mobs. In enclosed spaces, usually it'd go well, but out in the open, well... We continued through the ruins until we found the place that we were supposed to go to. However, as was tradition in our run, upon spotting an unmolested cliff with vines hanging off of it, we found the temptation irresistible and decided to explore in that direction. And now I present to you inside joke number 1.
What would you want to be in future?
I would like to be an engineer.
Wow, engineer. And you?
I would like to be a nurse.
Yes, that's good. And ROC, what would you want to be in future?
I would like to be a terrorist.
Inside jokes don't really ever look good on the outside, but trust me when I say that the inside jokes here are very esoteric. and I don't always understand them myself. I just laugh to avoid looking stupid. I've been doing it for 4 years now, and they never caught on. Checking out the cliff turned out to be a good idea. We found some loot and quite a bit of rubies. Rubies are one of the currencies of the game, by the way. Cock, dick even, shaft, maybe would become the nickname of our temporary bed, as things were heating up when it comes to mob encounters, and we had gotten pretty far from where we started out. After an immeasurable amount of ADD, we continued on in the caves where we faced our first true challenge. Gravel traps with several creeper spawners hidden in the walls, an obsidian tower surrounded by cobwebs, and a neighborhood that didn't pay the utility bills. For the first challenge, I used my special move. Having had recently upgraded my helicopter to 020, I needed to micromanage it to ensure a profitable endeavor, so I used my friend as bait for the traps. For the second challenge, my friend used his special move. You see, my friend, during our adventure map endeavors, would enjoy the privilege of experiencing a connection from Australia to the western borders of China. That is to say, he fucking disconnected, leaving me to do all the work for this challenge completely on my own. And for the third challenge, I don't know what happened. It was too dark to tell. As I said, the neighborhood didn't pay the utility bills, so the footage was about as interpretable as a Russian dashcam video is. We found one of the discs in there though, so that means we were on the right track. We also missed one of them, so fuck. Shit. We decided to explore the lower area and almost instantly regret that decision. We went back up to the ruins and found our first checkpoint. We decided to set up base there. We then headed into Luigi's mansion, where not only was the utility bill more unpaid than an intern at a mega corporation, but I was also emailed a personalized, handcrafted cease and desist signed by Nintendo of America, trademarked, all rights reserved. They also put a couple heart emojis right next to my address and social security number, listing 3 recommendations for suicide methods so efficient that it competes with the advice given by Google's own search engine AI. So, we're not gonna talk about what happened in Epstein's castle. All you need to know is that at some point, if you looked up Corellian from Vermintide, this would be the top result. Now we're just gonna cut to later in the video, after we got past the castle and found our second checkpoint, introducing the mascot of the friend group, Bob. I don't really have anything else to add. The next destination, a high crime rate neighborhood. How do I know this? First-hand experience. Check it out. On my way through the caves, I ran into a conspicuous looking pile of snow. Instantly, I was suspicious. I broke a piece of the snow to have it reveal a trap. I realized though that the dispensers at the bottom, due to the design of the trap, must have had splash potions to be of any danger, and the first rule of the map is to survive at any cost. Money was on my mind, and so I started to dig down to the bottom of the trap to loot the dispenser of the potions inside it. For a moment there, I thought I was smarter than the map maker, because leading up to this point, I'd been doing well on keeping an eye out for traps. What I didn't keep an eye on, however, is my back, because a zombie snuck up behind me, pushed me down into the trap, where I proceeded to enjoy the beautiful perks of a VIP membership with the local morgue. Truly, this is a map where one must expect the unexpectable, because despite the crystal meth caverns to be a location of cold origins, the mapmaker saw it fit to place a fucking blaze spawner. I however realized that the blazes, if conquered effectively, can be a pretty good source for blaze rods and powders, allowing us a theoretically infinite amount of resources for potion brewing. I proposed the idea to my friend and gaslit him for 12 minutes straight. He agreed to help with the conquering efforts, and the plan almost went off without a hitch, because shortly after securing the area around the blaze spawner, I found out the hard way that the snow layer right next to the spawner leads into yet another pit trap. However, this pit trap has residents, and the dominating political ideology is the Big Bang Theory. We then got distracted by a funny monkey game and never finished the map. End of story. If you expected a happy ending, then that is unfortunate, because I eventually proceeded to pull the RAM out of the server while my friend was playing on it. Shockingly, my friend died. Also, the server got corrupted. I managed to recover everything, but my friend's now lost inventory had contained a critical part of the team. Introducing yet another excellent inside joke, Bob. Bob spins, and when Bob spins, motivation reinvigorates us. However, Bob was lost, and with Bob lost, we found ourselves too demoralized to continue. If you were looking for a genuine Minecraft review, then don't look at me. Look around you, you're playing through it right now, just a heavily modded version of it. And the local governor of your state who just sold your data to the highest bidder is realistically just a server administrator. Minecraft is awesome. Minecraft is amazing. Minecraft is a gateway to gaslighting all of your friends and relatives. And it doesn't take any more than a good modern piece of spyware disguising itself as a mod pack launcher to see that. To avoid this, I recommend AT Launcher and the entirety of the Phoenix SC YouTube channel. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got a special mod to review.